Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the second part of the first impressions. And you can see in the background I'm not actually playing, I have recorded some footage for you, I'll play this in the background. You can see my character doing the Monolith of Fate. I will be running a few clips for you while I am talking about my first impressions of the endgame. And I basically want to talk about three things that are, in my opinion, important to talk about. Number one is the end game, and then in particular, let's say the echo to echo gameplay. Number two is the Monolith of Fate as a whole, as an end game system. And number three is the loot filter. And what I think is important also for this video is to make a clear distinction between, let's say, your gameplay as you see right over here. That's the gameplay in the echoes themselves and the Monolith of Fate. So for me, those are two separate topics, and I have two very separate opinions about these. And I'll be starting the video with my gameplay inside of the echoes. Now, you see over here, this is actually one of the new echoes. This is a light beacon, I think they call it, right? Like a beacon of light or something. If you clear all the monsters in here, which I'm trying to do right now, it's a little bit like ritual. I mean, just saying, right? It's pretty much ritual. You're in a circle, shit ton of monsters spawn, you need to defeat them, and at the end you get a reward. And the reward in this case is that you get clarity and vision of a lot of the surrounding webs. This is one of the new echoes. This looks very cool and interesting, especially also when you defeat the whole thing, everything becomes light. I would actually say it is blinding light. I've never seen something so bright in a video game in a long time, honestly. But yeah, sure, you know, maybe a little bit of tweaking there. You can't even see the loot anymore. But hey, all in all, good idea, decent execution as well. I enjoy this thing, right? Here you see the light, it's like super bright, but fine. I like it, it's good. And there are a few of these echoes, new echo types, but they are far and few between. I think that's the right expression, right? Meaning that you don't really see many of them at all. Maybe, I don't know, 1 in 10, maybe 1 in 10 echoes is a special echo. At least so far, right? I've played around 5 hours in endgame, and that is what I have come to realize. Which means that the vast majority of the Monolith of Fate is still the basic same regular echoes. And they haven't really changed. I mean, sure, there is sometimes a patrol in there. Sometimes you need to do something else. But it's still the same levels. It's the same zones. It's the same enemies. It is roughly the same gameplay as we had before the patch. And that is the gameplay that I don't find particularly interesting, because that is the gameplay that we already know. And to me, that is kind of an issue. If I have to give my opinion on, like, do I enjoy the new echoes, and do I enjoy playing the actual echoes in the Monolith of Fate? Not that much. I don't enjoy it that much. I appreciate that there is more variety, and I will get to the potential for sure. But if you look at what is currently implemented, it is still 80-90% the same as it used to be. Because I don't consider the patrolling thing an actual update, or even an improvement, to be honest. I find it personally quite annoying that my targets are on the move. So the only more interesting echoes are the new ones, but they're very rare. I haven't seen a Shade of Orbis yet, so I can't talk about that one. That's for the final review, I guess. But mostly, the echoes are exactly what they used to be. There's really not that much difference. And I wasn't particularly fond of the old echoes, mainly because they are, you know, they're generic, they're repetitive. If you've seen a few of those, you've seen them all, right? So if you were looking for improvements on that front, you're not going to find them, not in this update. Now, do I think that this will remain like this? No, right? Probably not, because there is plenty of room for improvement. And it's not going to be super hard to implement additional echoes for this endgame system. Not at all. But if you look at the actual Monolith of Fate and what you're basically doing, like 80% of the time, you are still running the same echoes that you were before the patch. Nothing really has changed there. And that is, I think, at least good to realize. And I think that's a little bit of a shame, but I also completely understand why they've done this, because there are so many other new, interesting and cool stuff to discover. It is just not in the actual echoes themselves, right? That is the main issue that I have with the new system, I guess. And it's the same issue I used to have, and it just didn't change. So I'm still having the issue. And this is the arena echo. I was wrong about the arena echo. I said like it's gonna be boring, right? Because it's arena. But it is actually a very nice mix-up between running regular echoes and every once in a while running an arena echo. The arena echoes aren't really clearly indicated. The beacon echoes are very clear, right? There's a clear icon there, and you know I'm gonna run a beacon arrow. The arena is not. So to me, the first time and the second time as well, by the way, I ran the arena. It was a total surprise. I didn't expect this at all. And I was like, oh, this is a weird layout. And then all of a sudden I'm swarmed by all of these enemies, right? You can see this in the background. And holy hell, this is quite intense. So I really enjoyed the new arena echo. I did not expect that would be the case, but I was definitely wrong. I'm curious to hear your thoughts about the arena echo, but I absolutely despise the arena because I think the whole wave-based concept is boring. But apparently, if you only have 12 to 18 waves, which is what this is, and you are basically being killed for like 3 minutes straight, pretty fun experience and a nice mix-up. Instead of running the regular echoes, you run the occasional arena echo. Really good stuff. So I'm happy they put that in, and it is for sure adding a little bit of variety. Alright, I think that's enough about the regular echoes and why I don't like them. On to topic number 2. And topic number 2 is the actual Monolith of Fate as a endgame system. So to once again make the distinction here, I just talked about the sort of life in the actual echoes. To me, not a very interesting life, but now you have the life outside the echoes, but still inside the Monolith of Fate. And then this whole thing has become hugely interesting to me. I really enjoy what we have over here. So this is a completed timeline. You can not see that actually, but it is, right? This is a completed timeline, and I started over here. This is where we are, right? You can't click on it, but you recognize this. And you only start with 3 islands, 3 echoes that are available. And I started exploring 1 or 2 of them rather significantly, right? Sometimes they like are interwoven and you can get back to them. And this path I didn't even take at all. If I zoom out completely, you can see how large this thing already has gotten, right? This is pretty large, and you're running a ton of these echoes. And I find it really interesting and a fun system. You can see over here the small icon. It shows you the rewards. You can click on it and then read over, well, in the bottom right corner, right? The echo rewards are rare amulets. You can tell by this icon it is a rare amulet as well because it's yellow. There are unique rewards as well. Those are, you know, the orange color over here, right? Unique rings. So it says a unique item, but I'm assuming it is a ring. And here you have an overview of all the different echoes, right? You saw the beacon echo that you saw in just the gameplay footage that I showed you. Here's another beacon echo. This is a well-designed, this is a great system. Super fun to do. You can do target farming, and if you do the chaos beacons and stuff, you can basically rework everything that you've discovered so far, including new rewards and new modifiers. I will definitely be making more in-depth videos about the mechanics behind all this. Now it's just a first impression, and my first impression is very positive about this system. Because there are, I think, 6 or 7 echo types, and you can imagine, at least I can imagine, that, you know, it's not going to remain at just 6 different echo types. There's going to be many more of these, and they can get super creative, and all they need to do is add an additional island every now and then you can just like explore and be on your way, complete echoes, and you always have the idea that you're working towards something, right? Like here I discovered this beacon. It shows me every echo in a 3 island radius, you could say, and I can see, well, maybe I want a rare helmet, right? And then I would path this way. I have to do this echo, and then I get over here. I wouldn't do that for a rare helmet, but if there are more rare, more interesting echoes, and later down the line, for sure, they will implement something like this, right? For sure. Then you can imagine that this system becomes extremely interesting. Something else that I noticed about the new system, or at least what seems to be the case, but it could be me, is that the progression, which is at the top, right here at the top, you have the progression bar. It's called stability, and the more stability you gather, then the more quest echoes you can do. These unlock at a certain stability mark, I guess. You need 50 stability for the first one, and the further you move away from the center, the more stability you earn. So if I do this echo, I only get 10 stability, right? You can see the progression over here, you can see the progression over here, and if I scroll over, you can see how much stability this gives at the bottom right, 10 timeline stability. So far so good. If I path away very, very far, these echoes give a lot more, right? This gives 30 stability. So the further you are away, the more stability you get, but also the harder it becomes, because here the modifiers are a lot more difficult and they last longer. So that is a little bit how this is balanced. The further you get away from the core, you could say, and I consider this blue thing the core, the harder it gets. And I guess the higher chance of Shade of Orbis you have, but I'm not entirely sure about that part just yet. Like I said, another video. And this means that this system is not only fun to explore, and you have a lot of potential later down the line by adding more echo types, but it also means that this system has a lot of depth to it and a lot of strategic value, because I've already figured out that, you know, you can, let's say, complete your stability in the timeline and end up with basically 0 modifiers before you start doing all the quest echoes. Meaning you're gonna have a much easier time on the quest echoes because you're not running around with 6 or 7 modifiers, which used to be the case. And I think there are going to be plenty of ways to either cheat the system a little bit or at least tailor the system in a way that you like as a player. This is an extremely customizable endgame system. Like I said, I'm gonna do more videos about this. More scripted videos, structured videos, not like this one, right? And yeah, I can't wait. I can't wait to play more of this as well. So overall, endgame system, it is a little bit of both, and it is actually precisely like I predicted, right? I said in a video I made like a week ago or 1.5 weeks ago that I think that the in-echo gameplay is not going to be that different from how it used to be, which is true. And I also felt that the whole web of islands that you see over here and all the different options that you do have and the strategic depth that this brings is going to be very interesting. And it is. It is very interesting. It is super fun, and all in all, definitely a win. It's of course far superior to the old system. Like, make no mistake, I'm not saying the old system was better in any way. There are just a few things that did not really change, at least not for me, and I think if you look at it objectively, they didn't really change. Most of these echoes you see over here are still regular echoes, and they are still the same echoes that you played last week. But of course, the whole thing is a lot better than it used to be. The third thing I wanted to talk about is the loot filter. That is to me also an endgame topic, you could say, right? There are a few changes, and I think one of them you should basically know. I'll make a small video about this, but what you can do since this update, and this is absolutely amazing, this is pretty much the only thing you really need, I would say, plus a lot of hide options, I guess, is you can select affixes and select a bunch of affixes, which I've done. So I am a hybrid. I'm a hybrid shaman with crows, and I'm using a bunch of lightning. So for example, elemental damage type, right? I have elemental damage and lightning damage, and maybe a lightning pen or something. What I have done is of course select all these affixes that I like. So far so good, you could already do this, right? But then you can say, well, I want to have at least a certain number of affixes that I just selected over here on the same item. So I'm saying I want at least an item with 3 of these affixes. If I don't get at least 3 of the affixes of the 50 that I selected, then the item shouldn't show up, which is amazing. But it goes even further. I can say that the individual tier of the affix must be a certain number. I didn't fill it in because I'm fine so far with the tier 1 affix over there. But I can also do the total affix tier, which means the total combined number of all the affixes. So if it has 4 affixes of tier 2, then this number would be 8, right? 4 times 2. And I'm saying, okay, at least I want to have the total affix tiers of at least 8 or more than 7. That is how it's currently set up. And then if I progress through endgame, I'm just going to increase these numbers. And I don't really need to do anything else. Because you can say, well, you know, I just like the affixes that I selected. Maybe you want to be a bit more strict with your selection. Maybe you're taking 40 in the end and not 50 or something. But you can say, well, you know, now I just want 4 of them. Otherwise, the item is not worth it to me. Or the total shouldn't be 7, but it should be more than 10, right? So the overall quality of the item is much better. It will still have low instability, so you can still craft on it. It's great, right? It's absolutely amazing. This flute filter is so good. And I'm not sure everybody has realized this yet, but this is something you can do. And I thought, well, just put it in a small video at least. This loot filter is absolutely amazing. It is a really small change, but the quality of life you get by just adding this and get some of these rules in your loot filter, top-notch stuff. Really, really good. That's basically what I wanted to tell you. I hope you enjoyed it, guys. I hope you enjoyed these first impressions. We're done with the first impressions, honestly. I will now just play the game a whole lot, especially in the weekend from tomorrow onwards. That is my weekend. You can expect a full review of the whole patch after I put in 50-ish hours, maybe a little bit more because it's such a large patch. I want to give you a full, decent, scripted overview and a more balanced video. It's probably going to be shorter than the first impressions, but much more condensed. So you can be on the lookout for that one. If you're interested in more, don't forget to subscribe and like, of course, and share the video. Share a comment down below. I really enjoyed reading your comments on the previous video. I'm curious to see what you think of the end game, and I will definitely incorporate your comments in the summary video, right? The review of the whole patch. So that's it for now, guys. Thanks so much for watching. See you all soon. Bye-bye.